I stole the cup. So yesterday, Teresa, or night before last, Teresa broke the carafe, or whatever you want, carafe, C-A-R-A-F-E, carafe. So I have to make a single dose of caffeinated goodness. It is 3 o'clock? Yeah, it's a little after 3. Timothy should be up and running. It's gonna be one of those days, you know. Long day. I haven't made a video in a while, so I guess I shouldn't have to. I don't have to. But I'm gonna explain some stuff that we're doing, where I've been and where I'm going. First, start out with coffee. An International Delight. I like my coffee kind of sweet. I'm being quiet because there's other people in the house, and I was just being courteous. So, hopefully the thing just... Oh, is it working? Yeah, buddy. And I just poured into that and that. And... Just another day. You can see some of my lime is frozen in the corners. Maybe you can't see it, but it's dribbling out on the ground. These halco floors are pretty decent. They have a high-speed option where you can, it's 2 boards running instead of all 3 of them. And he better move his ass or that's going to be on the ground. Yeah, that's right, because it goes that fast. Dude, you better go. Yeah, I'm going to slow it down because if I don't, it's right here. There's a switch and you just kind of, boom, there you go. And then that'll make all 3 boards go. And that slows it down by 1/3. Now, if he gets moving faster, then I have to speed it back up again, but that's just it. But he's just stacking them off to the side, and he'll stack them up later. Yeah, he better move. Come on, Jaime. Come on. You can do it. You're just gonna fall over. It don't take long. All right, that's it. All right, so I'm walking out here. This was the load that I brought up this morning. I'm just finishing unloading it, but there's a pile over here, and you can see as it washes out. We've had some pretty good rainstorms, and you can see what this compost is, okay? It looks kind of like large cut tobacco, but what that is all the straw, the wheat straw, and everything else that they put in there, any kind of corn cobs, corn fodder, there's poultry litter and all this stuff in there. But when you look at it here in its fresh form, you can see it, but you don't see it as much. Now, I'm gonna walk over here and I'm gonna show you what I talk about when I talk about the tea. Okay, so that washes out. This is downhill. These are the tracks that I had left from the, in the truck when it was a little bit damp when I did it, but you could see that there's a discoloration here from that to there. Well, that's where that tea is all running out of, and it's running down here, and which is a good thing because that there area right there is pretty crappy. Haha, it's not as good as it should be. I do have my lime on. You can see there's some chunks that were there. This was frozen when I put it on. And what's gonna go in here is actually soybeans. The new property owner, this place was sold, and the new property owner is putting in a vineyard. And I don't know if you can see it, but he's got a stake right there. And he's gonna have, his vineyard is gonna be square. Let me get up in here real quick. His vineyard, which you can see the stakes now. Maybe I can zoom in on them. Stake. His vineyard is going to be square. Heck of a nice guy. I mean, I'm really proud to be able to farm this ground now the way I want to. And the previous owners were great, family friends, many years. I really wanted to change the crop here, but in the end there, they really didn't want me to change it because it was going to, they wanted to sell it, and I had never asked them to grow anything else, but I was like, well, this past year before they sold it, I said, hey, can I put corn in there? And they're like, nah, we really don't want corn in there because we want to sell it. So So it was hay, and the new owner, he was like, hey, yeah, I really like the hay on here. And I asked him if I could put corn on. And he's like, well, I don't want corn. I was like, oh man, what am I gonna do? I said, how about soybeans? Can I put soybeans in there? Hold on a second, it's gonna get loud. Can I put soybeans in there? He's like, let me see. How tall do they get? I was like, I don't know, 30, 35 inches, 40 inches if you're really good at it. He's like, yeah, you can put soybeans in there. Okay. So he says, I don't care what you grow here, as long as it's not so tall that I can't see out. I was like, excellent. I have a plan. Oh, do I have a plan for this place. So what's going to happen is, I'm not going back today for another load of compost, but I'm going to get myself about, I don't know, 10 to 12 loads, maybe even, I don't know if I'm going to go more than that, but 10 to 12 loads of compost here. And I'm going to put it on here. And I'm going to put it on there. And it's going to equal about, and I'm going to put it on here, this field here. Okay. So this field here is not going to be grapes here, but from that stake that way will be grapes. So I've already limed everything. So we're at about 2 tons to the acre of lime on here. And quite honestly, it has, in the little bit of rain that we've had, I'm going to show you, you can still see it just a little bit. The 2 ton rate, that lime is right there. There's a little bit of a chunk of calcium there, which will last a lot longer over the years as it as it deteriorates or breaks down in the soil, neutralizes the pH. The calcium on this ground is not terrible. The calcium levels are actually not terrible, but they're not available calcium. So there's gypsum in that, which gypsum is a very available product, our calcium source, and it's a sulfur source because it is calcium sulfate. So when you have that, you put that on here, and soybeans are really funny. They respond very well to sulfate, calcium sulfate, sulfur. And I have another product. All right. So I got to deal with my next load of lime. I just dumped it out here. They got over top of my tarp with the frozen lime. So I have to get up there with a shovel and shovel it out, which is not a big deal. But I can do this because, you know what, I'm pretty slick. Just stick that phone in the lime. Hopefully it works. This stuff is a pain in the ass. I didn't get it out far enough. So we're going to go back over. There's about 1,000 pounds of shit in here. Holy Jesus. All right. That's what we're going to do. Whew. This is pissing me off. Thankfully. Okay. Oh, it's a pain in the ass. Each one of those shovelfuls, about 45 to 50 pounds. William took a spill. It was quite the spill, wasn't it? Hit his head. Oh, it's turning black. Yeah, and he banged up his thumb and his belly. Oh, look how clear that is, huh? You see that? Here, watch. Can we flip that back? I don't know. I don't think we can. But we can torture your brother. Like, hey, Tim.
What?
Hey, Tim.
What?
Tim.
What?
All right, so it's the end of the day. We've all worked. William is wounded. Wounded, right? Yeah, you're wounded. End of the day. End of the day. Well, that pile's getting chewed into.
Yeah, I just put the last of them there, but I still got another row to go.
4x4s. All right. Didn't get a chance to make a video, but this is what my life is like right now. Just running this truck. Running the truck. So I take a load of hay down, come with a load of compost back up, and obviously I'm gonna go get some lime now. This ground needs lime pretty bad. You can tell by the types of weeds that are growing in here. I say weeds, this is switchgrass, believe it or not. This is a native grass, and it came from the neighbor. He had that in there. This is low-lying ground here. There's really, you see the root mass in here. I would really love to get a microbial activity test done, see what's in there, and I probably will do that myself. I have a microscope, and all I got to do is dig down there like 6 inches, pull a test, and then dilute it with water, and then get kind of flush those out of there and see what's going on through the microscope. But for the most part, this is what we would call poor grass or Indian grass or broom sage. Broom sage is another one. That's broom sage, actually. We do have a pretty bad case of hemp dogbane. Now, hemp dogbane is a rhizome growing plant. You can cut it off. It just comes up, just keeps sprouting up. You can spray it with 2,4-D. You can spray it with Banville. I just wanted to show you the oxidization of the aluminum against that calcium carbonate. See that gray looking color before it slabs off there? The difference, the contrast there is amazing. See how that is? So yeah, that's aluminum disappearing off of the lime. Now, a lot of people say that, lime, you need a uniform lime to do its job. I kind of like the chunks in it. You'll find pieces like this because it's been raining a little bit here, and you'll get little stones like that. That's a pretty one. I don't mind the little stones, but I did find like a 5-pounder. It's over here, but I'm gonna have to pull ahead now because my tarp is gonna get buried. So that's it. All right, so we're putting lime on some rather not so good ground. Actually, I'm gonna let you all in on a little secret. There's no such thing as poor ground. There's just poor farmers. Okay, I've said that many times in my life, and anytime you see a farm that doesn't look good, it's just a reflection on the guy that's farming it and their farming practices. Now, everybody does things a little bit different. Some people are making more money with crops that don't look as pretty as others. And, like this mulch hay that I'm putting lime on. Why would I put lime on mulch hay? Well, I'm putting lime on mulch hay because it's not going to be mulch hay for much longer. This is coming out of mulch hay. It's going to be going into corn. I've grown good corn here. It's a bit on the droughty side, this soil, but there's plenty of topsoil here. And the reason I'm going to put it into corn and I'm not worried about it is because of all the thatch, or the armor as they say, for that is the old hay crop. So I'm going to kill the old hay crop off, and I'm going to no-till corn in. I'm not only am I going, what are you doing, thing? I'm not just going to kill it. I'm going to put my compost on here, and I'm going to use the compost as the fertilizer. The hay, or the old thatch or hay crop that's here, will 100% hold this compost tea in place, and I won't have to do any tillage. I'm just going to no-till it in. Hence the term no-till. So that's the plan here. As a matter of fact, that's what's going to happen. It's not just the plan, it's what's going to happen. The only commercial fertilizer I am going to be putting on here will be nitrogen. I don't need anything else on here. The thatch or the old hay has a lot of nutrients stored up in its roots, and when I kill these roots, I'm going to put my super mix on there to excite the microbial activity in the soil, to break that down and give me a really good rate on, well, a good return on my investment. And that's what it's all about. You know, I hear guys, and I'm a victim of it too, and I say victim, you go to the fertilizer plant and they're like, oh, you need to have this super high yield, and you can achieve that by using this variety of corn, and you can achieve that by using this type of fertilizer in this quantity, because your soil can, you know, is depleted in this quantity, and you really need to do that. Well, that is not the whole ball of wax. It's not the entire truth that the fertilizer is telling us. What we need is not generally what we need, is not what they need. Okay, they need people to believe that the ground is completely depleted of all its nutrients. And the fact of the matter, there is a ton of untapped nutrient in every acre of soil on this planet. It's there, it just needs to be made available. So this is one step in making that nutrition or those nutrients available. They have to be available, because if they're not available, your plant isn't going to take it up. So I'm on a mission, I should say, a mission. I'm on a mission to figure out what's the best way to get the most out of my soil without buying a lot of commercial inputs. This year is going to be the year that makes or breaks a lot of people. And if you go out there with the idea that you're going to put on the prescribed rate of fertilizer from the fertilizer plant, you may end up making nothing. You may end up going into debt and having a 10-year plan to get out of the debt that you got yourself into because you listened to what the fertilizer plant said. Now, I'm going to tell you, I am not at all happy with the way my soil tests came out. As a matter of fact, I was downright disappointed in them. And I'm going to tell you why, because I'm going to tell you why. The reason I was disappointed in them was because the soil testing that I didn't show any improvement over the previous year. Now, that's why I was so disappointed. I'm like, you know, I've put lime on here. I put gypsum on. I didn't put lime. I put gypsum. The gypsum that I put on, and there was calcium lime in that compost as well on top of the gypsum. Now, it's not a lot, but when you put a lot of tons on, it should be there. My pHs did not raise an iota. Now, I grew a damn nice crop on very marginal pH soil. Okay, so I was like, well, I do need to adjust these pHs, and I really need to do that now because I'm going to be growing 1,000+ acres of some form of a row crop, corn and soybeans, whether it's majority corn, that's the plan, and a minority of soybeans. Corn is very expensive, but I've got a cheap fertilizer source, so I'm okay there. But it's like, where's the P and K? Where did my P and K go? Why don't I have P and K? I put on enough P and K to actually add it in the soil, and it's not there. Well, I kind of thought maybe it ran off in the weather, and then I thought, well, how the hell could it run off? I worked it in, so it couldn't hardly run off. And we had a few deluge. No, you leave the lights on, Will. We did have some runoff rains and stuff like that, and it washed some of the topsoil away, but it didn't wash like the entire field off. Where it did wash off, it washed the herbicide off, and then I was allowed to have weed growth. But okay, well, where did all these nutrients go? So I started doing a little research into the company that I sent it to, and there you are, I see you. So I did some research into the company that I sent the soil test to, and they don't test for organic nutrition. They only test for inorganic elements, or NPK, calcium, zinc, and all that stuff. And there's a buffer zone in there. You know, there's that buffer pH, which could be made available, but we don't know if it will, you know, that kind of sort of thing. And, you know, so anyways, I'm doing research, and there is another test that you can send out, and that's called the Haney test. And the Haney test is more expensive, but it tells you how much organic and actual elements that are in the soil. Now the reason the company that I sent my soil test to only tested for inorganic is because it was through the fertilizer company, and the fertilizer company doesn't give a damn about organic elements because they can't make any money on those. They only prescribe what the inorganic nutrition or nutrition value or nutrient value in the soil is. And I do believe that we are over applying these elements, and they're getting lost. So when you take a crop, okay, I'm coming up on a field of corn here. You take a crop like that corn and you throw inorganic or synthetic fertilizers on it, and that corn picks it up and utilizes it. Well, where does it go? Does it go out in the green? No. Not all of it. As a matter of fact, it's only a small fraction that goes out in the grain. The majority of it is in the root and in the stalk, and it's there, but it's now an organic nutrient because it was converted. So it is there. They're not testing for it. Is it available to your crop? Well, kinda, but not yet. It has to be degraded. So you have to put something on there to break those stalks down. Now, a lot of people put on nitrogen. So, and that is a good way of breaking down your corn stalks and whatever else you've got in the field to make it available to the plant. But at first, it has to go through microbial activity in order for that to work. Now, if you have dead soil, I'm sorry about your luck. The microbes in your soil, they die when the food source runs out if there's nothing there to feed them. So you're only getting a portion of your organic nutrients back for your plant. So the whole thing is liven up that soil and make that stuff available to the new plant. It's called regenerative agriculture. I am entering into that adventure. Most people call it a journey. I'm calling it an adventure into regenerative agriculture. I started last year, nobody really knew it, but I did in a limited scale, and then I inadvertently ruined some of my adventure, but that's part of the adventure, learning what to do, what not to do, what you can get away with and what you cannot get away with. So this year I'm going full-blown into regenerative agriculture on the row crop side of it. So you're gonna see me do weird shit. Weird shit. That's all I can say. I hope you enjoy it. I'm taking you along for the ride, and hopefully we all can learn something as to what to do, what not to do, or why did one lonely farmer's cheese slide off his cracker. So let's see how that goes. You up for it? I am. I'm actually quite excited for it. So anyway, I'm gonna shut this off. I'm in town.